We spent 2 weeks at Oliver Lee State Park in New Mexico, which is just south of Alamogordo, which is pretty close to White Sands Missile Range, as well as White Sands National Park. So while White Sands was not super high on our list of places we wanted to explore, we were really interested in actually exploring Lincoln National Forest, which was less than an hour away.
We are at the Three Rivers Petroglyph site, and we have already hiked the petroglyph part of it, which was really cool. We'll show you some pictures of that. But right now I'm walking over to the village where they actually lived, and apparently there's a little bit of an archaeological site that's been partially excavated. So we're gonna see what that looks like. But it's a phenomenal day. And it's Martin Luther King Day, so free admittance. So that's pretty cool. So the verdict is it was mostly excavated by non-archaeologists looking to steal ruins, pottery and such. And there's a recreation of a traditional home there, but nothing really remaining otherwise. So I think the coolest draw here is definitely the petroglyphs on the rocks, and the little village site is interesting. The placards give a lot of good information, but not visually as compelling. But we'll pick you up at the next place.
We were lucky. The campground that we stayed at, the camp host actually had sleds that he loaned out to people that were camping in the campground to go sledding at White Sands. So we decided that we'd take the sleds and go for an adventure. While Oliver Lee was not necessarily the most scenic state park we've stayed in New Mexico, it did have its beauty. And it was very close to the Lincoln National Forest, which is absolutely gorgeous. You can hike into the Lincoln National Forest in about a mile and a half, or it takes just under an hour to drive into the proper part of the Lincoln National Forest. And while Oliver Lee, we were hitting 65, 70 degrees in the middle of the day up, near Cloudcroft, New Mexico. It was probably in the 30s, and we lucked out, and there's actually quite a bit of snow. So a couple days we went up to the mountains and we played in the snow. We ended up going to Sunspot, which is a observatory in the Lincoln National Forest. And while we were there, actually talking to one of the ladies that works the observatory, she mentioned a hike for a waterfall. So we followed her suggestion and we went for that hike. And while it's not really that long of a hike, it was absolutely gorgeous. And we lucked out because it was frozen over, and there's just something really awesome about watching the ice form and all of the different formations and layers from as the water has kind of flowed over, as the wind has picked it up, as it's frozen and thawed. So it was definitely an awesome place to explore. Video?
Why not?
Unfortunately, our time at Oliver Lee was kind of a mixed bag. We experienced some of our worst sandstorms over the past year plus of being on the road. And I have asthma, so that doesn't exactly agree with me. If I go out during the active sandstorm, then it tends to cause me issues later on in the week because it seems to take quite a bit of time before my lungs really recover. Overall, the campground was very quiet and peaceful. It wasn't exactly our ideal place. There was lots of bright lights on the nearby military bases, and so while it was out in the desert, it didn't really have that same dark sky feel that City of Rocks did.
It's Friday afternoon, middle of January. This is one of the things that I love about where we are and what we're doing, is having kind of the best possible weather. So I'm out hiking with Ella. Kelly stayed at the camper. She wasn't feeling too well, so it was just Ella and I today. But it's probably 65 degrees and sunny. Unfortunately, it comes with a downside of having all black husky, and we were taking a hike up to Dog Canyon, and we didn't make it all the way. But if I'm being honest, it's a lot of elevation for me too. But the full sun exposure and lots of elevation gain meant that I turned back after a few miles in instead of going quite all the way. But it's a phenomenal hike. We're having fun. She has plenty of water, and we just took a break in the shade. Found a little canyon wall to hide in for a little while. And I'll show you what we're hiking down through now.